Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact. Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome back to First Contact Radio. How are you today? Here we go. Today is the 20th of May. We are moving right along. So today we have a moon sign in Aquarius, and our sun sign is in Taurus. However, today is the last day of Taurus because we are going into Gemini. We could see here 9:59 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time, so that would make it at just shy of 8 p.m. tonight. The transition will go into Gemini. In other parts of the world, it's going to be the 21st already, and all of this is set up according to times outside of California, at least the whole astrological system. So, last day of Taurus. Taurus the bull, Taurus the Hierophant, Taurus the Hebrew letter Vav, nail or hook, is the meaning, and it's about hooking the spiritual together with the physical. So we've been going through that phase. Now we're getting ready to go into the Gemini phase tomorrow. So today's the last day, the opportunity to find a way to hook that spirit with the physical. Doesn't mean this is the only time and it ends after this. It just means this is where we're at right now. Last opportunity to kind of take a look at this month we've been dealing with and the energy and kind of wrap it all up as we get ready to go into the next lesson. And if we look at these as a series of lesson after lesson, that's a helpful way to look at things. Okay, Aquarius is all about the futuristic ideals that we have. It's air, which is words and actions, an expression of the creativity within us. In tarot, it is the card of the star, which reminds us that we need to go inside to do things like meditation, because that allows us to connect inside with our spirit, and as we connect in, we find that there's a nice good flow between the conscious and the unconscious, and everything flows smoothly. Henceforth, a little bit of wave looking symbol right there that looks like water, but it's actually words and actions, and it's the words and actions that happens when everything I just said you go through and everything is flowing smoothly. So your words and actions flow smoothly, and there we have the little squiggles of water. The idea of water, the flow. Okay, 1:11 p.m. today, we have a square. Squares are lessons, and this is a lesson between Saturn. And Saturn, the key word where Saturn would be discipline. It's the planet of discipline, and Saturn and Aquarius. So connecting those two ideas together, how are they going to play themselves out? Well, if you think of the words and the actions of Aquarius, you just put them together like a puzzle. The words and the actions of the Aquarius, the ideals, those futuristic ideals, and they're going to come and they're going to hit a block, and the block is going to be something that's going to want to discipline that. Okay? Because sometimes when we have these futuristic ideas, sometimes we can have our head in the clouds, and we need to kind of ground ourselves in the sense that we need to really organize, put it together, and make sense. But not what we're saying is, if we really want to make it practical and bring it into the world, then we need to do that. We can't just let it be one of those airy-fairy things up in the clouds that never lands, because then it never lands. All right, and then we have a trine going on later this afternoon, and this was between Mercury and Aquarius. So this is nice, positive, futuristic thoughts. And this is prior to going into the stage of Gemini, which is ruled by the planet of Mercury. So perhaps this is a nice little opportunity where there's some really good vibes and thoughts with Mercury getting ready to go into its home place, into the Gemini area there. And so there's those good vibes thinking about, okay, where are we going? What's this all about? How are we going to put this together? What is this next phase about? And Gemini is all about, it's the twins, it's duality, but it's bringing duality together as a single unit. And it's finding a way to have that balance. The key word for there would be discernment, using our discrimination. Okay, we'll get more into Gemini as we get into that tomorrow, but for right now, we're going to leave it there. The numerology for today is a number 5. Here's how we arrived at the number 5. 5 plus 2, 0, 20, plus the year. And so the 20 becomes a 2, 2 plus 0. So we got 5 plus 2 plus 7. Altogether, that's a 14, and 1 and 4 is 5. And that's our number for today. And so 5 happens to come up to the Hierophant, Taurus. It's what we've been dealing with all month long. So here we are at a wrap-up day, and the last bit of numerology, a little synchronicity going on here, is our ability to be able to connect. And that's what this whole life's about. You know, we go through life, we experience life in the physical world, and that's a wonderful thing that we have. But then the balance is always finding out that there's a spiritual world out there, and how do we connect the two? Do we go all the way to the extreme of being spiritual, or do we go all the way to the extreme of being physical, or do we find a nice, happy balance between the two of them? Either way, the Hierophant is about the hook that hooks them together. And from there, it's up to each one of us how we want to allow that spiritual aspect to grow, how much we want it to grow or not. You know, that's the free will that we have, to allow that opportunity to expand within us. The 5s also relate to this sphere over here. Another way to look at 5s is they relate to the sphere of severity. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 down here. So in 5, we could say 5 would be the severity of things. This is Mars. Mars energy. When Mars energy is there, it's very heavy-duty energy. It can be positive. It can be energy that could be all pent up. And so what we want to do is, when we have that Mars energy, we want to find a way to express it in a creative way. And the opposite of that would be warlike way. And so we have all of these wars going on around the world, and the rumors of wars, because we have all of these warmongers that are running the country. I mean, can you really expect to have peace if you have warmongers in office? Not really. That's what they do. They want to have war. That's their inclination to go to that, because they're expressing that energy in that warlike way. However, it can be expressed much differently. It can be expressed in a creative way, and then it becomes something much different. So it's just, again, up to us how we're going to express these different ideas and energies. So that's the 5. Then we have, again, the Aquarius down here, going from our emotions. Because here, this is the sphere of victory, but it's also emotions. Whereas on the other side, splendor is also the mind. So you have the mind and the emotions. Mental body, the emotional body. And so victory and the emotions are tied together, whereas splendor and the mind are tied together. This is the sphere that would be the sphere related to things like magic, because it's the mind, how we use the mind to create, like the Kribali and all those lessons there. Whereas the sphere of victory is the emotions, and the real emotions come when the victory comes when we are able to master our emotions. And part of the mastering of the emotions we see here, this is the Aquarius. To master the emotions, we have to become like the idea that's expressed here. 1 foot on the land, 1 on the water. A nice balancing between the subconscious and the conscious, or between the water, which is like emotions, and the land, the earth, which is form, between the physical and that emotional world, and we find a balance in there. We're also taught with this card here in the idea of Aquarius. The Hebrew letter assigned to this would be Zadi, which is a fish hook. So in the same way, there is a hook here, hooking something. Here's a fish hook. And the fish hook says we're going to take and drop a question, which is the bait on the fish hook, down into our subconscious, and we're going to come up with the answer. And the better the bait that's on the fish hook, in other words, the better the question, the better the answer. And this is connected with our emotions. And here we have foundation, is the place on which the Aquarian ideal stands. Okay. There's so much that you can learn from this symbol just by applying everything that is happening on a daily basis. And you start putting it together, and you'll never stop learning this. There's always something new you're going to find out on how things connect. Just think it's an electrical circuit. This is how everything around us moves, the energy moves, and just go from there. All right, current moon phase is 60% full, making its way down to the new moon. This week we have, let's see where we're at today. Here we go. As the stars come out, Saturn in the southeast, Vega is in the northeast, Capella is in the northwest, and Procyon in the west-southwest. They're all about the same altitude, so we should get a nice good, no graphic of there, but we'll have a nice good image there. Saturn southeast, Vega northeast. Okay, so those are the two big ones we're going to look for, and then Procyon and Capella northwest and southwest. Mayan Oracle today is a 7-tone day on the wave spell, or the theme of the warrior, using our mind, our intelligence. Today's the inspiration that we get along the way, and the inspiration guided by timelessness. The timelessness of what this life is about. I know we get caught up on the day-to-day basis that time is only going to last so long, but when we step away from that small picture and see the big picture, timelessness is what it's all about. The Earth synchronicity is a navigation. That's our like-minded energy today, and our challenge today is the free will that we have within us, and then of course our hidden power, the storm, gathering of energy. Phrase for today: I channel in order to communicate inspiring breath. I seal the input of spirit with the resonant tone of attunement. I am guided by the power of timelessness. Over at Space Weather, solar wind is currently at 339.7 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is quiet. Coronal holes, nothing there to be looking at. And our M class, we're down to 10% now from 20 yesterday. X class is down from 5 to 1. And we're down pretty low. Well, we do have 30%. Looks like in the next 24 to 48 hours in the high latitudes there could be some sort of geomagnetic storm activity. Alright, all this just because the sun is continuing to be active. Alright, and from there also, let's see where we're at here. We're on a 20 Lyre. It's the day here on the Jewish calendar. And that brings us up to date with a good number of time signatures going on right now. That's kind of how I look at it. You know, one of the ways I look at it. That it's like we have a variety amount of times here. We have Earth time, we have space time, we have a variety amount of Earth times because we have the Gregorian calendar, we have the Jewish calendar, we have the Mayan calendar. All these different ways of looking at time. Which one's right? Maybe they're all right. Then you throw in other things out there that are based on time, where you look at the astrologies and the tarots and the Kabbalah, which is a system of putting all this together, and then you look at all the other sciences, esoteric sciences. They're all kind of pointing into a direction that there's some sort of timing that we need to understand out in the world. And then, of course, when you throw into the whole idea of time, the idea of timelessness, kind of gives you a lot more to consider. All right, that gets us started for today. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. So our first story today takes us up to the space station. This took place on the 15th of May. All right, there's another shot there. I was looking to see if the Russian rocket launch was caught by the ISS HD cam when I found this UFO. It's ISS. It's only there for a few seconds, but is interesting. The UFO does not move, does move just a little bit. And as it does, it dims and fades its cloak. The angle of the sun reveals the cloak for a few seconds to minutes. By the way, the Russian rocket launch at the ISS HD cam can have been grayed out, meaning the videos over that 4 hours was 100% gray and nothing else. It's been covered up. Alright. And of course, with these videos, you always want to enlarge them because you can certainly see them much better. Okay, first one. There you go. Now, moving on from there, we have Iceberg, as you can see, in Newfoundland. Semi-cloaked UFO over Iceberg in Newfoundland. This was on the 17th. Check out this partly cloaked UFO over an iceberg. At one point you can see it grow, and at two other points you see small white objects. The first small white object comes from the UFO and into the water. The second just comes downward into the water on the right side. Watch in high definition to see it. It looks like aliens have an interest in the icebergs. Probably not much for global warming as much as their own personal need for clean water. Eyewitness says, so I really don't know what to say about this. While driving around Salvage, Newfoundland, and Labrador, looking at all the icebergs, I noticed what appeared to be a chunk of ice just barely attached to an iceberg. Hoping to catch it collapse, I took out the camera and zoomed in. What you can see is a white object not attached to the object, but rather spinning around and changing shape. There was no fog. It was a pretty clear day, so I'm up for debate. Any ideas what this could be? Well, it's very interesting. Just floating right there, hanging there. It's a good capture. Good shot, right? Alright, let's move on from here. Let's check out the next one. This is Italy. Turin, Italy. It says these two intriguing, bright, and colorful UFOs were filmed over Torino, Italy. Dr. Angelo Carnante for the Centro Ufologico Mediterraneo CUFOM of Italy claims his organization is investigating. Okay. This is the lights right there. Very interesting. This is a 9-minute, 23-second video. There's a couple of lights hanging there looking like stars. And then they move, which tells you they're not quite stars. Alright, let's move on from here. Next one. So you've heard stories about humanoids periodically. They do pop up, and they've been in our literature and our legends and lores for a long time. Well, here's an article addressing that particular thing. From the beginning of time, there have been reports of flying humanoids. Recently, Mexico had strange sightings of large, bloated, floating humanoids. Some people believe that these so-called humanoids are no more than a group of balloons floating in the air. But if this is true, what is the account of a flying humanoid that landed near a police vehicle, and the Mexican policeman that saw a close-up of this humanoid claimed it looked like an evil, haggard witch that had a sinister glare? He was so scared he sped out of the area and never looked back. Below are various reports of flying humanoids. The humanoids below do not come from the minds of DC or Marvel comic writers and artists. They come from real people like you and me. Read on. Van Meter creature. The town of Van Meter, Iowa became under siege in October 1903. We get reports of an entity that has a massive membranous wings. It also has a beak and a glowing horn on its head that emits light. Witnesses say this entity came from an opening of a Van Meter mine shaft. If you believe in the hollow earth theory, then you will understand that there is a possible world inside our earth, a world described to have crystal cities, flying discs, and many strange humanoids. Admiral Byrd was the first one that made a claim that he went into the open in the earth while in Antarctica and came upon a very strange reality, a reality in which a UFO captured his plane for a while and dragged his plane deeper into the abyss. It's hard to understand how this great adventurer and explorer would fabricate such a story unless it really did happen. It is also said that in the subterranean depths of Earth is where Bigfoot takes residence. Many local Indian legends and even the Sumerian clay tablets make reference of wild men or Bigfoot living in the deep caverns of our planet. Then we have Valkyrie of Valtana. Valtana is a tiny village nestled in Spain's remote and scenic Pyrenees Mountains. In June 1905, there were several sightings that took place. The location was an epicenter for a miraculous series of events. A woman robed in white with long clinging draperies has flown over the town of Volta. When you have multiple witnesses, the story must have some kind of foundation of truth. Arsenyev's flying men. Military man Vladimir Kledyevich Arensyev in 1906 did some scientific expeditions into the mountainous Sikhote Iron region. His job was to map the document the unexplored temperate wilderness to the best of his ability. You can say that there was the forerunner of the likes of Google Mapping. While on one of his expeditions, he came across a strange flying humanoid that had a distinct human shape, and with human shape came large bat wings. Another incident, the Ivansky family found a small winged creature under their child's bed. The Ivansky family panicked, but they knew they had to get rid of the creature, so they finally managed to kill the abomination with household chemicals. The creature they saw had 5-foot leathery wings, 3-fingered claws, blue fur, and flat primitive-like face with large eyes and lipless mouth. This all took place near and around Petersburg, Russia. And in August 23, 1914, World War I, British Expeditionary Forces hard pushed to the German front lines. A regiment of angels assisted the British, according to legend. Arthur Machen wrote a story about phantom archers that were led by St. George, and perhaps the story was confused with the British Expeditionary Forces and Angel Regiment story. Many scholars that have studied the case believe that this is the case. Alright, so there's more. I'm going to leave this for you to read them, but quite interesting because we do get these reports from time to time, as you can see. What are they? I don't know. Maybe one day we'll find out. Alright, and here is a story that seems to be somewhat of a warning. Says this in a May 15 interview with Alfred Lebrant Wabre on Exopolitics TV, a 33-year-old male ET abductee using the moniker George to remain anonymous confirmed that his interactions with the hyperdimensional predatory gray ETs and his discussions with fellow abductees indicate that the species may be planning a disclosure event planned using human-looking hyperdimensional offspring of hyperdimensional predatory gray ETs. ET abductee George, who is based in the Vancouver, British Columbia area, indicates that this event may be planned for the end of 2014, although it could occur in 2015 or 16 depending upon his contingencies. In the interview, ET abductee George agreed that the target of the predatory ETs is the human soul. and that spreading the awareness among our communities of the importance of a spiritual and soul-centered life is vital to our planetary and species success, as well as coordination with advanced, etherical, interdimensional civilizations of spiritual forces. In an earlier October 15th, 2013 Exopolitics TV interview with Alfred Lambermoth-Webre, ET abductee George confirmed the numerous repeated abductions and electromagnetic tortures that he ascribes to a predatory hyperdimensional species that have stated their intent is to ultimately displace humanity on planet Earth. When asked how he could distinguish the torture he received from that which targeted individuals receive from electromagnetic weapons or nano implants of the transhumanist agenda, ET abductee George replied that his group of abductees had determined that the terrestrial NWO transhumanist agenda controllers do not possess this level of advanced mind control weaponry they are experiencing from the hyperdimensional ET species, as they have extremely researched leading-edge terrestrial human neural and mind control technology. In the interview, it was noted that both Popes Ratzinger and Bergoglio had spoken out publicly in recent weeks about extraterrestrial agenda, as if creating an opening for the disclosure event that the hyperdimensional ETs reportedly spoke about. So, very interesting. I think it's, I think we kind of just need to take all of this information, consider the possibilities on both sides of the fence. We don't want to close out our mind to what's going on out there, right? We are seeing a lot of sightings. They seem to be increasing. We haven't been attacked that we know of on a global scale because we seem to be here. So we can look at the situation and consider whether or not their agenda is to harm us, because if the agenda was to harm us, wouldn't they have done so already? Why would you go in to attack a civilization and then allow that civilization to build up weaponry against you because they see you in the skies? That doesn't make any sense at all. That's not really a good way to go about if you want to take someone over in that regard. So there's something else going on. However, we're told that there is this gray agenda that's out there that might have a different agenda than some of the benevolent ETs out there. There could be some reality to this. I've heard this theory for some time that there were hybrids, a lot of hybrids that were being created, and that during a transition phase, souls were going to be bouncing in and out of bodies because we would be making transition from one-dimensional reality to the next. And as such, souls would get ensnared when they were bouncing out of their particular bodies, and that they would be ensnared for these bodies on the ships. It's a theory that I have heard in the past. Is that real? I don't know. I just know that in the universe there's good and there's bad. And we can look at all the bad and we can focus on it and we can be afraid of it. Or we could focus on the good. And I believe that there's much more good. And I believe that by focusing on the good, that will attract the ETs that want to assist us, want to help us, will attract the good situations that we want, and that all the rest is just fear-based stories that fit in kind of with the Hollywood agenda, because there definitely is an agenda that goes on in wanting to make ET look really bad. Why is that? Well, because it's a power struggle. See, those who are in power now, they don't want to give up their power. But if someone comes down in a spaceship doing something that you're unable to do, kind of changes the game, because then the people who are looking at you for the power suddenly start looking at the others as being more powerful. And, well, our leaders don't like that. They want to remain the more powerful ones. All right, and one last article here. Does the government have an agreement with extraterrestrials? Which is kind of the point of all of this. Phil Schneider was vocal before his death about what he says he learned about aliens while working under a high-level security clearance for the U.S. government. Epoch Times and Educating Humanity do not make any claims as to the veracity of this story, but rather presents this extraordinary claim for the reader's entertainment and contemplation. Schneider met with ridicule from many, but there are also who believe, after watching his videos, such as Veterans Today's senior editor Gordon Duff, who calls him a UFO whistleblower. Schneider was found dead in his apartment in 1996. Though it was ruled a suicide, some believed he was murdered. In 1954, then President Dwight Eisenhower made a pact with 3 species of aliens, said Snyder in a lecture in the 1995 Preparedness Expo, in exchange for alien technology. Eisenhower allegedly gave aliens permission to abduct some cattle and a limited number of human beings. For decades, livestock have been found inexplicably mutilated across the United States. More than 10,000 attacks have been recorded throughout this country, according to KLS-TV Las Vegas. Some of these mutilations are done by cultists. Some say it's predatory animals, although livestock have been found with their organs removed in a precise manner. Some say it's aliens. As for human abductees, Snyder said many of the thousands of people missing worldwide may have been taken by aliens. He said there are 9 races of aliens that see human being as a bag of food. Alright, so again, more food for thought. The story's certainly been out there for some time about the agenda and the agreement with the extraterrestrials. So it all seems to be building up and building up. And I think sometime in the near future we'll be getting a lot more information on this, because either they're going to make themselves known a bit more and we're going to meet our brothers and sisters, or there's going to be some sort of disclosure that's going to take place, because I think we're getting ready to, people know what's going on, right? I mean, you're not surprised to hear anything about extraterrestrials, and I don't think many people are. Anyway, that's it. We're going to jump on next. Urantia is up. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Continuing on. So before we jump into the Urantia, I wanted to bring up this one story which was quite fascinating. It's a story of a 3-year-old boy. He's from Syria. He remembered a past life. So a 3-year-old boy in Syria's Golan Heights region has suddenly become the center of attention after he revealed that he was murdered with an axe in his previous life. The boy, of the Druze ethnic group, was born with a long red birthmark on his head. According to Druze beliefs, birthmarks are related to past life deaths. When the boy was old enough to talk, he told his family that he had been killed with an axe blow to his head. As is the custom, the elders took the child to the home of a previous life to see if he remembers it. And sure enough, the boy knew the village he was from, and once he arrived there, he remembered the name he had in his past life. Locals told the elders that the man who the boys are claiming to have had gone missing 4 years earlier. When asked, the boy also remembered the full name of his killer. When the alleged killer was confronted, his face turned white, but he did not admit to murder. The boy then took the elders to where the body was buried, and in that very spot they found a man's skeleton with a wound in the head that corresponded with the boy's birthmark. They also recovered the axe with which he had been killed. Faced with the evidence, the killer then admitted the crime. The full story has been documented in the book Children Who Have Lived Before, Reincarnation by German therapist Trutz Hardo. Well, that's pretty fascinating, right? And, that's just another confirmation that we've lived before and we're here again. Okie dokie. Let's move on now to the Urantia book. So have you had a chance to look through this site at all? There's a lot here, isn't there? A whole lot of information. And so, certainly much more than we're able to cover in the course of the show. So, it really requires studying further on your own. So what we have here, I've been looking around to see where we go from here. And today, what I thought I would show you is we're going to go here and look at this workbook here, a study of the master universe. Because this whole system here seems to be based on a particular type of organization. And understanding the organization of this realm is very important. Here's a artist concept of this that might help us Okay, which it says at the center of the universe is the stationary Isle of Paradise, the geographic center of infinity and the abiding place of the Universal Father, the Eternal Son, and the Infinite Spirit. Paradise is the absolute source and the eternal focal point of all energy matter in the universe of universes. This central isle is the most gigantic organized body of cosmic reality in all the master universe. Paradise is motionless. It is ellipsoid and essentially flat. This immensely material beauty and spiritual glory of paradise are beyond the comprehension of the finite mind of man. Since you are beginning to glimpse the enormousness of the material universe, it should become evident to you that such a tremendous material universe must have an adequate and worthy capital, a headquarters commensurate with the dignity and infinitude of the universal ruler of this vast and far-flung creation of material realms and living beings. After all, to mortals, the most important thing about eternal paradise is the fact that it is the perfect abode of the Universal Father is real and far distant destiny of mortal souls, immortal souls, and of the mortal and material sons of God. Revolving clockwise around paradise are 3 7-world circuits, the sacred spheres of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, enormous worlds of unexcelled grandeur and unimagined glory. Okay? It says the central universe of Havona revolves clockwise around the paradise and its 21 satellites. So we have this here. This is the central part here, and that's right here. Now we got all these other worlds revolving around it. Okay, and we have like 3 distinct rings. We have one here, and we have this one going this direction, and this one going clockwise. So the central universes of Havona revolves clockwise around paradise and its 21 satellites. It is of enormous dimensions and almost unbelievable mass, and consists of 1 billion perfect worlds of unimagined beauty and superb grandeur. These worlds are arranged in 7 concentric circuits represented in blue on the drawing. That would be these right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right here. The circuits are not superimposed. Their worlds follow each other in linear progression in one vast plane. Havona is not a time creation, it is an eternal existence. Each Havana world is different. No 2 are alike. Surviving mortals in the ascension to paradise will pass through each of these billion worlds. Continuing astonishment, unending wonder is the experience of those who traverse these gigantic spheres. Not until you visit the last of the Havona worlds will the tonic of adventure and the stimulus of curiosity disappear from your career, and then you will urge the forward impulse of eternity, replace its forerunner, the adventure lure of time. Out beyond Havana, there swirl 2 elliptical circuits of enormous dark gravity bodies pictured in gray in the drawing. The inner circuit is tubular in arrangement, the outer is arranged in perpendicularity, being 10,000 times higher than the inner circuit. These gravity bodies neither reflect nor absorb light, thus have completely enshrouded Havana to hide it from view of the nearby universes. So they effectively equalize the lines of Havana gravity as to render the central universe a physically balanced and perfectly stabilized creation. Okay, so here's the other one. You can see here by the drawing that this is much taller than this one here, as it describes. Okay, then we go down here. So now all of that we've just seen here, here's this whole thing here. Now we're backing out, and here it is, right there. Grand universe is the perfectly organized and inhabited creation. It exists of the perfect central universe of Havana and the 7 evolutionary super-universes revolving around it. The super-universes are unfinished. New nebulae are constantly being organized. When finished, each super-universe will contain 100,000 local universes, each of which will contain about 10 million inhabited planets. Our super-universe, the 7th, is called Orvonton. which has a diameter of approximately 500,000 light years and contains more than 10 trillion suns. Practically all of the starry realms visible to the naked eye belong to the superuniverse Orvonton. The vast Milky Way star system represents the central nucleus of Orvonton. This great aggregation of suns, dark islands of space, double stars, globular clusters, star clouds, spiral, and other nebulae, together with myriads of individual planets, form a watch-like, elongated circular grouping of about 1/7 of the inhabited evolutionary universes. When the angle of observation is propitious, gazing through the main body of this realm of maximum density, you are looking towards paradise. A local universe, Nebadon, is located near the edge of Orvonton. Our planet, Urantia, belongs to the system of Satania, which is well out towards the borderland of Nebadon. The location of Urantia is indicated on the drawing by the dot and the letter U. Christ Michael, Jesus of Nazareth, is the sovereign of our local universe of Nebadon. Okay, so there we are. There would be Nebadon right there. And as it says, Jesus, Christ Michael, he's the sovereign, so we know all about Jesus. Okay, so again, worlds within worlds, or wheels within wheels. The master universe encompasses all of material creation. This includes the central universes of Havana, the 7 super-universes, and the 4 uninhabited outer space levels, which revolve alternately clockwise and counterclockwise. The immensity of the far-flung creation of the Universal Father is utterly beyond the grasp of finite imagination. In outer space, millions of new galaxies are in the process of formation. The first outer space level is about 500,000 light years beyond the periphery of the grand universe. Between the 7 super-universes in the first outer space level, and between each of the space levels, are enormous elliptical zones of quiescent space activities. They are free from stardust, cosmic fog. The sizes of the outer space levels are enormous, millions of light years in width. Improved telescopes reveal to the wondering gaze of our astronomers no less than 375 million new galaxies in outer space. There are already in outer space 70,000 aggregations of matter, each of which is greater than any one of the 7 super-universes, and this is just the beginning of stellar evolution in these regions. We can imagine the immensity of outer space, we can sense its extent and its majestic dimensions, but otherwise we can know little more about these realms. It is believed that surviving mortals born to the planets of space, like Urantia, in their ascent to paradise, are being trained to take part in the future administration of these outer space levels. So it would appear from what they're saying is we start off here, and our goal is to get to here. This would be the paradise we're all working to get to. Now, in going through all of this, you'll notice as you go through this section here of the study, this name William S. Sadler comes up quite a bit. So I wanted to look up William S. Sadler and show you who he is. It said William Sadler from June 24th, 1875 through April 26th, 1969, was an American surgeon, psychiatrist, and author who helped publish the Urantia book. The book is said to have resulted from Sadler's relationship with a man through whom he believed celestial beings spoke at night. It drew a following of people who studied its teachings. A native of Indiana, Sadler moved to Michigan as a teenager who worked at the Battle Creek Sanitarium. There he met the physician and health food promoter John Harvey Kellogg, co-inventor of cornflakes, breakfast cereal, who became his mentor. Sadler married Kellogg's niece, Lena Cestia Kellogg, in 1897. He worked for several Christian organizations and attended medical school, graduating in 1906. Sadler practiced medicine in Chicago with his wife, who was also a physician. He joined several medical associations and taught in the McCormick Theological Seminary. Although he was a committed member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church for almost 20 years, he left the denomination after it excommunicated his wife's uncle in 1907. Sadler and his wife became speakers on the Chautauqua adult education circuit in 1907, and he became a highly paid, popular orator. He eventually wrote about 40 books on a variety of medical and spiritual topics, advocating a holistic approach to health. Sadler extolled the value of prayer and religion, but was skeptical of mediums, assisting debunker Howard Thurston, and embraced the scientific conventions and evolution. In 1910, Sadler went to Europe and studied psychiatry for a year under Sigmund Freud. Sometime between 1906 and 1911, Sadler attempted to treat a patient with unusual sleep condition. While the patient was sleeping, he spoke to Sadler and claimed to be an extraterrestrial. Sadler spent years observing the sleeping man in an effort to explain the phenomenon, and he eventually decided the man had no mental illness and that his words were genuine. The man's identity was never publicized, but speculation has focused on Sadler's brother-in-law, Wilfred Kellogg. Over the course of several years, Sadler and his assistants visited the man while he slept, conversing with him about spirituality, history, and cosmology, and asking him questions. A larger number of interested people met at Sadler's home to discuss the man's responses and to suggest additional questions. The man's words were eventually published in the Urantia book, and the Urantia Foundation was created to assist Sadler in spreading the book's message. It is not known who wrote the edited book, but several commentators have speculated that Sadler played the guiding role in its publication. Although it never became the basis of an organized religion, the book attracted followers who devoted themselves to its study, and the movement continued after Sadler's death. So very interesting. So that's the history of the man who brought forth the Urantia book. And now you have a little bit more of insight about what the Urantia book deals with. So I'm going to move on from here today. But again, there's plenty there, and we're only going to be scratching the surface on what we're able to get to with this book. So continued study on your own. If you have questions and stuff, shoot them across, and perhaps we'll form a study group if there's enough people that are interested in doing that. All right, let's move on here. This is an article. It deals with the idea of spirituality, as all things on the show seem to do. And this has to do with a terminology. It just kind of checks to see where you're at, what words you understand, how much you understand about the particular subject of spirituality. It says, as a person climbs the ladder of spiritual progression. Okay, go away. In this lifetime, there are particular terms that describe various stages of development. In order to maximize the opportunity of this lifetime, there are at least 30 important spiritual terms you should become familiar with. All of these terms are part of the reason we incarnated, and our mastering the meaning of each of these is likened to initiation. When you master the initiations, you prove that you are ready to move to the next level of experience. Here are 30 spiritual terms that you should know. We've got awakening. You've heard that term plenty of times. It has various forms. Awakening is a realization that you are more than just human, and you are here to accomplish more than just being a slave to the system. We hear various forms like a wake up. We hear that a lot. Vibration. Vibration, we understand that. And the Kybalion talked about everything is vibration. All matter is energy. The soul, the etheric substance or spiritual particular to a unique living being. The soul is immortal, and its energy can be seen around the physical body as the aura. The higher self is the eternal high vibrational mental aspect of the soul, and it serves as a liaison between our soul and our monad. Our monad is the oversoul, which creates the aspect of consciousness of your soul. A monad consists of a male and a female aspect, and when incarnating into a lower vibrational density, these two split up and continue to split further into lifetimes. Imagine a wooden wheel of a bicycle where the hub is the male or female part of the monad, and the spokes are all aspects of soul consciousness or lifetimes. Creator and source is the term used to describe all that is within our experience. Dimensions or multi-dimensions, we hear that term a lot. The Creator created dimensions in order to experience very vibrational levels. So in the Kybalion, we understood that there's many dimensional levels within the all. the mental world, the all. Soul groups or soulmates. When Creator created monads, it created them out of the rays of the white light. When this light is differentiated, it becomes the colors of the rainbows. Monads are split into groups of colors known as rays. And these groups come in pairs and so on. Dark night of the soul is used to describe a process of cleansing and clearing that involves facing our shadow self. This is always a very important aspect in everyone's life. We see it in movies all the time. It's where the character or the person or in life where we're really questioning what's going on with ourselves. And then once we get past that, we find ourselves to be stronger than we were. Spirit guides, we heard this term. We all have these guides around us, and as we connect in with them. Guardian angels. Twin flames. You know about the twin flames. We're all looking to find that connection with the twin flame out there, whether it's a relationship that's a love relationship or whether it's another type of relationship. We have different connections out there. Our free will is what we have to decide how we're going to use the energy around us. Universal law, set of guidelines agreed upon in a particular universe. Kabbalion, we've understood a number of those. Ascension is what we're working towards, raising up to ascend, to raise our consciousness higher. Incarnation, particular lifetimes that we're living in, we're incarnated into this soul contract. Before we incarnated, we planned out what we were going to do. We made a contract, and here we are to fulfill that. Our life's purpose, seems like we spend a lifetime trying to find out our purpose. Many people do. A person's life purpose is the main goal or goals they chose to accomplish before incarnating. A life purpose can be a career, such as a goal of being a famous musician, bringing the beauty of music to the planet. It can also be a balancing act, such as incarnating with another soulmate or serving a role in order to wipe out a clean slate of karma between two souls. So there's lots of different purposes. Karma, we understand that, the wheel of karma. Talked about this in the Kabbalion as well. We understand in the universe the give and take as we create. As we do, we create. Chakra, these are the centers in our body, the 7 major ones we activate when we meditate. It's a nice good chart of all of these colors, from the root on up to the crown. DNA upgrade, we heard about this as we're moving forward into this time. Our DNA is the code that makes up our multi-dimensional existence. So we hear about these upgrades that are taking place, that are coming through a variety of different places. Energy, the cosmos. Meditation, you know what that is. Aura, it's our energetic field extended outward where we can see it. That aura, the colors around us. Nice little way to see it. Sit or stand several feet from a mirror. Make sure you have a solid light colored background behind you. Look at yourself. Focus your attention on outlining a spot in your body. You'll see your aura. Probably see it already. Cleansing, spiritual protection and cleansing, very important. We need to clean our energy, make sure that we don't have any, it says here, hitchhiking entities. The Merkaba, this is that light body that we form around us. Okay, means light. Ka means spirit. Ba means body. It's a chariot of ascension. The new earth. We've heard about the new earth. Dolores Cannon, she talks about the new earth. We've heard it in the Bible. We've heard a lot of others talk about this creation of this new earth. Multidimensional, fifth dimensional reality. Forgiveness, something that we all, work to do in this life, to find ways to forgive those who have brought pain to us, and also to ask forgiveness of those who we've hurt. Loving ourselves, just love. We understand love. It's important. Gratitude, very important. And NDE, near death experience life review. All right, so those are really good terms. It says the awakening process is the soul's realization that raising one vibration is necessary with the help of their higher self in the ascension process. This will allow life on a new earth that is built upon universal law, We are all connected to a creator source that created our soul and our monad, or multidimensional conglomerate of our past lives. We incarnated with our soulmates, and with the help of our spirit guides and guardian angels, we will complete our soul contracts and fulfill our life purpose. The dark night of the soul brings up opportunity to transmute karma and clear our chakras. This will allow our DNA upgrade and cause our Merkaba to spin. Through NDEs, we learn the importance of forgiveness, loving ourselves, and having gratitude in this lifetime. We can heal our aura through meditation, which will protect us as we climb the spiritual ladder and move towards reuniting with our twin flame to enjoy a higher level of existence of love and free will. All right, that was an awesome way to connect them all together. All right, very good. So let's move on. Today, our message is from Hilarion. We get Hilarion's message every week. So let's make this no different than any other week and listen to what Hilarion has to say. Here we go.
The politicians are doing it again.
Putting powerful special interests.
All right, here we go.
Hilarion.
May 18th to 25th, 2014, by Marlene's Wetlishaw.
Beloved ones, the changes taking place throughout the world are doing so at an accelerated pace. The weather extremes are affecting many people throughout the world, and it is becoming clear that humanity must work together to bring assistance and resources to these affected areas, and to look for solutions to these problems. The signs are clear that cooperation and goodwill are much needed in order for humanity to overcome these major challenges. Many people are being tested in the challenges they are being compelled to go through in their personal lives. This is a time to go within to the deepest and most spiritual connection that each individual can align with. This is the focus and the higher purpose of the tests and challenges currently being experienced. It is incumbent upon all people to employ the greatest force in the universe, the force and power of love. It is during turbulent times that the power of faith and compassion comes into play within people's hearts, and this is what is needed during these times. The light within must be kept radiant and constant. Those who have been walking the spiritual path of maintaining and increasing the light quotient upon the planet are now being called into active service. By this we mean that each of you is asked to maintain your vision of the new earth reality in a better way for humankind. Do not be distracted by the seeming appearances of chaos in all parts of the world, for it is during these times that the higher vision must remain constant in people's focus and prayers. Your light is much needed and required. As you maintain and increase your own light, we of the higher dimensions magnify this light to help maintain stability and balance. We work together during these times of world transformation and transmutation. There is a saying upon your world, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, which means when the situation becomes difficult, the strong will work harder to meet the challenge. They do not give up, they maintain the higher vision and actively work towards it. Those of you who have already been tested are now in a position of giving hope and upliftment to a planet in the throes of extreme and accelerated change. You have many tools at your disposal, and you must now employ all of them to keep your light shining bright. Maintain equilibrium and a detached perspective in the daily reports coming through your communication networks. Look for and affirm the highest outcomes in all situations that come before your awareness, and work the plan, the divine plan that you have come to bring into manifestation upon this world. Be steadfast in your devotion to the highest outcomes for all, so that your brothers and sisters can feel empowered as they meet the challenges that beset them. Use all of your God qualities as you serve the higher purpose. There is always a higher solution to every problem that comes before humanity, and these higher qualities of a self-realized human can bring the hope that is sorely needed by those who feel lost and alone in their struggles. Let them know that all is not lost, that at their core they are intact, and as long as they remain centered in the truth of their alignment to the divine, all is well in the outer happenings that are occurring with increasing regularity. Be a shining example as a loving goodwill ambassador. If you are able, give practical and capable assistance to those in your sphere of influence. Riding the waves of change can be exhilarating and exciting when an individual rests in the knowledge that at their core they are indestructible and inviolate. Know that you, the light workers of the world, are an indomitable force for good, and stay true to this oneness of purpose. It requires dedication and persistence from each of you now. Be the greater light upon your planet during each and every moment. You have what it takes, each one of you. Until next week. I am Hilarion.
Alright, good message from Hilarion, reminding us just not to get caught up in all the nonsense that's out there. And we know there's a lot, right? Easy to get caught up. We see lots of friends and family caught up every day. We just need to keep ourselves from getting caught up as well. Alright, meditation time. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, exhale again. Now imagine all of your chakras are activated. Start with the bottom of your spine, and the color is red. You see that chakra drawing the energy from the earth. And then from that red chakra at the bottom of your spine, just see the energy move up a little bit higher to the belly button area. And there, the color changes to orange. And there is your emotional chakra. And then the energy continues moving up higher, just below your rib cage. And this is your intellectual chakra, and the color is yellow. And you imagine the energy going up from there into your heart chakra, and there you see the color green. And then up further yet to your throat chakra, the color is blue. Continuing up between your two eyebrows, color is indigo. And finally, the energy makes its way to your crown chakra, the top of your head, and the color is violet. And then the light continues on into the cosmos. And there you are, connected to all the energy flowing through you from above and from below, from the cosmos and from the earth. And as we experience all this energy, and we feel this connection to the earth, we're able to look around the world and see those things that are disconnected. And as we look through life, we see many things disconnected, and people confused by these disconnections that they don't even know exist. And as we walk through the world, this world with all this darkness and confusion, the first thing that comes to mind is an overwhelming sense of peace, knowing that the light around us shall protect us. So no matter what dark alleys we walk down, in order to bring the light will protect us. And so we walk through the world, and as we do, carrying this light with us, we find connections are reconnected. Confusions are gone, and people start to become clearer and focused. And as the light shines bright, people turn away from the things that are distracting. And pretty soon the wars and the rumors of wars and the lies and the deceits all drift away and are replaced by love and kindness and truthfulness and peace. And as we continue to focus in that direction, it's almost as if we can see this old world fading away and feel this new world becoming more of a reality each and every moment. So imagine the world of peacefulness, of love and harmony, where all are getting along, and where love is truly considered first and foremost amongst all things. So just hold this idea in your mind's eye and let your subconscious mind continue on its journey of sending light out into the world. And bring your conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today. Thank you very much for being here. I'll be back tomorrow. Just keep shining the light, and I'll do the same, and we'll make this world brighter and brighter. I'll be back tomorrow. Have an awesome day. Peace. I'm out of here.